Let's work on open source.
What's up, data engineers? So, today I actually wanted to talk about an interesting topic. Just per chance, this happened upon me, and I thought this might be fairly interesting. Contributing to open source. I've never done too much of it, mostly because I'm too busy doing other things like work and doing my blog and newsletter and coding on the side, and then, family, all that kind of stuff. So, I know a lot of people contribute to open source. A lot of people don't. There's a lot of misconceptions about it. I've done very little of it. But today I just thought I would share kind of a real life example to kind of, show what it could be actually like to contribute to open source. And it's not that scary or difficult. So I want to talk about this new library called Mac. You can see it up on my screen there. I do a lot of work with Spark, PySpark at work and in personal time. So Apache Spark, and there's this awesome library called Mac run by the awesome Mr. Powers. He's a Delta Lake Databricks guy. It's just awesome content. Does a lot of awesome work in the community. This is one of probably many of his projects. Mac's just like helper functions basically for data lake operations, Delta Lake. Um, yeah, and so I had a chance. Was scrolling around one weekend and saw that they had asked for help with like a Docker, basically set up for a Mac just to make it easier to develop things like that. And I have some experience with that. So you can see the last commit was mine 4 days ago. And they actually had another request open. I thought I would just take it and show you guys what it looks like to contribute to open source as a data engineer. It's totally possible. The first thing you do is just find something you're interested in, something you work around, right? So you have a little idea, so you have some sort of interest in it. So Mac was mine. I had noticed that they wanted to, you go to GitHub, find, whatever you want to work on, kind of go to the issues. A lot of times, a lot of these open source packages, they'll put like a good first time. You can see a good first time issue right on there. And I saw this one function to get a latest version of a Delta table, good first issue. And I think yesterday, I asked, hey, can I take this? Can I work on this function? And yes, the wonderful Mr. Powers said I could take a look at it. Let's just walk through it and see what happens here. So I'm going to clone this repo. I'm going to change into that repo. So I cloned it, change directory into Mac. I'm going to check out a new branch, call it add git latest version. Okay, so we got a new branch, and let's go ahead and open it up in Visual Studio Code. So what we're going to do is pretty much just add a new function. Should be way less than most of this stuff, but you kind of want to keep the same feel, if that makes sense. Yeah, you just want to keep the same feel, of the code. So I'm just kind of scrolling through and looking kind of how they're like structuring stuff, just because I want to keep in sync. That's one thing. Be kind to the people that are letting you work on their projects. Kind of write code in the same style. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one of theirs, another simple function, just so mostly the format and everything, right? I don't have to worry about it, if that makes sense. I just want to write this code is, have it be as seamless as possible to what they're doing. So we're going to call it, what did you want it called? You wanted it called latest version. So no problem, we will call this latest version, and it will take a delta table and it will return a float that will be the version number. Okay. So it's going to return a version. Let's see, it looks like they have some doc strings up here. Delta table, we're not going to change that. But it returns a what? It returns a long, a float. This is what it returns. Doo-doo. Delta table. So if it passes in a delta version, our delta table, we need to get a version. What are we gonna do? Latest version, I'm gonna let go pilot, probably a co-pilot, we'll figure it out. But you know, I came over here to the Delta Lakes blog, and it's saying, you know, if you work with Delta Lake history, you can get the history of the table, and it says the schema and the version is one of those, and it's along the table version generated by the operation. So a delta table is going to have many versions, right? As people are writing to the delta table, more and more versions. This function is getting the latest one. So it looks like we need the history of a delta table and then get the version, the latest version from that table. Should be fairly easy to add this, and Copilot will probably try to do it for me, but let's say we have a delta table. Let's say we need a version and a delta table history version. That's not quite right, is it? I mean, maybe it's right. Collecting it, get the latest version. What if we select version, aggregate, get, I don't like this. Come on. Select the version, max version, there we go. Let's get the max version, collect that. What's it doing there? Turn version, max version, that's weird. Stop it, Copilot. Yeah, so I know what I'm doing. Nah. Okay. Just got delta table. Get a version out of the delta table history. Get the history, select the version column, and let's just like grab the max version. That maximum version, right? So it'd be like the highest number. It's gonna write into the delta table probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? As it goes along its life. It's going to collect that to a list. And let's grab the latest item out of that list and return it. It should be really that simple, right? I mean, it seems that simple to me. And let's write a test for this to see if that's actually correcto. So let's open up the tests. Public test interface. In a test, public test. Here we go. Got the test open. Let's go. Let's go add one. Way at the bottom. Okay. So, see how they structure this. Def. Test. What do we call it? I already forgot. Latest version test. Latest version. What's it gonna take? What are they doing up here? Temp path for all their work. That's fine with me. Just copy that. So these will take a temp path. And our temp path, we'll call this one latest version. And what do we want to do? We want to mock up a delta table. So we'll just steal some of this stuff, huh? And we want to write to it a few times. And then once we've written it a few times, like say 2 or 3 times, then we'll check our function. We'll read that and see if it gets the right version back, see if we did this right. So it doesn't really matter. Create a data frame, data, write it to the path, but we want to do that again, right? Let's do it again, or maybe even twice. Just do it twice, huh? You know, we could just write the same data frame over, huh? write the same data frame again twice, and we'll append it. There we go. So write for my delta mode to the path, append. Let's do it twice. Df write. All right, because we want to see the version number change in the Delta Lake. That's what we really want in the end. So now we've got it. The Delta Lake, latest version. There we go, man. Look at you, Copilot. Latest version is going to be Mac latest version. Our new thing past the Delta table, and we should be able to assert latest version equals 2. 0 probably starts with 0. So we created the data frame. Wrote it once, wrote it twice, said that's the latest version is 2. So what can we do now? We can run the tests and see what happens. Let's give ourselves a new terminal. Docker compose up test. Not found. Docker compose up test, and we sit around and let's see if our test passes. Come on, failed. It failed. One failed. What's going on? Oh, did I not select? What didn't it like? What didn't it like? Get latest version failed. What's going on? Didn't like something. Assert. Expression should not be empty. What's it trying to tell me here? What'd I do wrong? I wrote my code wrong probably. So it's puking. Yeah, this is puking on. It's not the assert that's puking. I wrote something wrong in my function, which is why you write unit tests for all you people who don't like writing them. Availability is going to be built in. This is average math. So it just didn't like how I wrote it. Do you think I've written enough Spark in my life to not mess it up? Oh, this is like duh. So this has happened before. So it's like using the max function from Python instead of the Spark function. I think you can. No, I don't want to mess up their crap. So like, I don't. Did they import functions? Yeah, they imported them up here, so I can just. That gets a little weird, but I can import max function and hopefully that'll fix it down here. You know, I personally like, yeah, I like doing like import functions.f or something and use f.max so you don't have this problem, basically. I prefer to develop that way, otherwise stuff like this happens. Idiots like me. Let's run the test again, see what happens. You know what, let's update the README while the tests are running. Let's update the README. Roll to the bottom. Scroll to the bottom. Humanize bytes. Let's just like copy this so when we get to our section, we're not floundering. Okay. Append. Okay. So we'll call it get latest delta table version. The get version. Is that what we called it? Man, my brain. Latest version. dude. The latest version function gets the most current delta table version number and returns it. So we write so yeah, like we would basically do this where we like have a delta table, right? We're just teaching people. So we have a delta table, and then you like basically do this. All right, this is just for the README latest version, and then like latest version should be like 2. Pretty easy little README going on there. Get latest delta version. You know, don't forget the small stuff when you're helping out these projects too, right? Let's see what's happening with our, except I can't pull this up, man. I am Visual Studio Code, man. The test passed, look at that, 22 passed, so we're good. My function works. It apparently wrote out the first data frame and then it appended twice, which means 0123 version 012 version 2 latest version return 2. We wrote a test. We updated the README, and there's our code. Let's make sure everything's formatted, looks, you know, reasonable. Version, delta history version. I don't really think we need the select in here. It's kind of like, you know, unnecessary. So let's remove that and run that again. Test passed. What's up? So what are we gonna do now? I'm gonna go get status. How about we switch our terminal? Yeah, this is fine. You can see the README, our test, that. Let's do a commit. I don't know, do they name their number 88? So typically, I don't know if they do it this way, but you can do like to reference it and add, I'm a moron. What did we call our function? Add functionality, get push origin. Why did I make the branch name so long? Okay, and let us open a PR, add the latest version functionality. Let's make sure, look at, there's our README update, get latest version, get latest version, Mac, delta table returns. We added our max, we did the latest version, delta table history, aggregate max version, collect, return, test. Write the data frame twice so we can get the latest version. It all looks good. Add functionality for latest version 1 update, README, include new feature 2, add 3 add unit test for, we'll see what they say, man. Create the pull request. And there you have it. There's my PR. I'll let you know if they close it or something. Oh man, wait, 89. I thought the 88, 89, whatever. I don't know. I'm gonna take that off so they don't think I'm a moron. Which is probably too late, but okay, there you go. So that's how you do open source. Go find something that you can work on. There's easy stuff just like that. I was like, the function itself was literally like one line of code, right? So technically this is besides a unit test, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, that was a one line contribution to an open source project. So pat me on the head. Good boy. Good boy.